Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
In a world where podcasts are a dime a dozen, one show dares to stand out from the rest.
The Film Board, a podcast unafraid to tell it like it is.
We're here for one reason and one reason only. Downloads.
That's right. We review new release movies because that's what gets people's attention.
But just because we're in it for the clicks doesn't mean we don't take our job seriously.
We're part of the Next Reel family of film podcasts, and we're proud of it.
Our reviews are just as insightful and thought-provoking as any of our other film podcasts.
It's just that this podcast is all about that sweet, sweet SEO.
The nectar squoze from the tree of Bing.
We're only human, but we're also creators.
And creators eat clicks to survive.
So if you want honest, unfiltered opinions on the very latest movies right on opening weekend,
delivered with the self-awareness of a team looking for downloads,
then tune in to The Film Board,
where every download counts, but yours counts the most.
Do you like movies?
Do you like sports?
I never played that sport on the screen, but I really enjoyed how the movie made me feel.
Well then, have we got a show for you. The Adrian Moment is where my friend Ocean and I discuss the triangulation of sports, movies, and life.
We dive deep into the movies, discussing how they relate to and have affected our lives.
We will talk about why the sport matters to the movie, why you don't have to love the sport to enjoy the movie, and mine a few nuggets of meaning inside the story you may not have realized was really there.
After listening to our show, come join us for more conversations about the movies that portray the thrill of victory
and the agony of defeat.
Find the Adrian Moment podcast on your favorite podcast app and join us while we cover the sports you love and the ones you never think about.
You will never see sports or sport movies the same again.
Hooked on you, baby, you're golden. Time moves, I never noticed, just can't get enough. Got me wonderstruck.
Hello, everybody. Or should I say, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. This is Make Me a Nerd, and I am Mandy Kaplan, a mainstream mom whose mission it is to explore all things nerd culture, including sci-fi and fantasy and video games and Taylor Swift. What? Okay, here's what we're doing today. I'm taking a break from my journey, and I'm trying to make a nerd out of one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world and one of everybody's favorite podcast guests, Tom W. Metz III. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you so much for having me, and to be a part of the Three Timers Club is a true honor. So
Soon to be four.
That's right.
Yeah. So you mentioned this. I think you were half joking. Like, well, what if you tried to make me a nerd about this Taylor Swift? Ha ha ha. And I was like, yep, do it. Watch Eras, the concert special on Disney Plus. And I think I've mentioned before, I saw it in the theater one day by myself, went back the next day with Jer and Casey and watched it all again. I love it so much. So what I want to know is, what did you know of Taylor Swift before you pressed play?
I love it. Thank you for having me. And yes, I think it was during the Babadook episode where this got suggested. Mm-hmm. And I was really thrilled to do it because I don't know much about Taylor Swift.
What do you know? What did you know?
I thought I knew two songs from one, now I know to call them Eras, from Reputation, which was Are You Ready for It? And Look What You Made Me Do. Because I love both of those songs so much.
All my strength not to sing. Go ahead.
Yep. And I appreciate your service. And I remember thinking that maybe she started as a country singer, but maybe that was a different one, like Carrie Underwood. I just got confused, and I just didn't, I knew she was enormous. I knew this tour was a world changer, but I don't even see her because I don't watch football. So I just didn't know. That's pretty much what I knew. Of her. Oh, and a little bit of not specifics, but dating past. Like she dates a lot of famous people or has in the past.
Yes.
That's all.
So, yeah, I'm not going to get too into the weeds of her personal life or anything, because we have a lot of songs to cover. I wanted you to experience her as a music artist rather than as somebody who gets gossip or, who's dating Travis Kelce. Like, who cares? She is in my opinion, an extremely talented performer and songwriter. And that's what I wanted you to experience. So the concert starts with,
I had a question immediately.
yeah, go for
I
it.
knew there was I had the feeling that there were like symbols and stuff throughout, and like a conversation being had with the super fans in what it was SoFi Stadium, in this enormous stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just sing random lyrics and everyone would lose their mind. So I have questions about some of those. But
I
yeah,
hope I can answer that.
it starts with what looks like it might as well be like a clock or a stopwatch.
Right.
And it's counting down from 13 seconds. And immediately I'm like, I'm not going to look this up. The only thing I looked up was the set list. Because
I don't remember what that 13 is, but somebody did explain it to me.
Okay.
So
the only thing I
Swifties,
did look down
inform
the set list so we'd have like something to talk about. Meaning, because I don't know, I didn't think I knew any of these songs. So it starts counting down from 13. I'm already confused, but I'm there.
I think 13 had some significance for when something was dropping. Like she was going to release something on the 13th. I don't know. But
yeah,
from what I remember. But the whole concert starts with a song that is not one of her huge hits, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, which is when they have the flowy, beautiful things and they're all covered and they just come out and she's not on stage and then they reveal her.
They look like peacocks almost with these huge feathers. Yeah.
Yes. And then that breaks into a song called Cruel Summer, which at the time was a massive, massive, massive hit. Interestingly, Tommy, not a current song. It was on a previous album, my personal favorite album, Lover.
Oh,
and then it didn't go anywhere. It didn't take off. And then out of nowhere, a year and a half, 2 years later, when she had already released different music, Cruel Summer became a huge, huge hit.
Huh.
So when she sang it on tour, it was like everyone loved that song.
Super timely. I bet it was, if I had a guess, I would say TikTok.
You're probably right.
And I only say that because it turns out I know, and I wrote down which songs I actually knew. I knew a bunch of them, snippets from TikTok, never knowing it was Taylor Swift. So that was a fun way. I knew more of this music.
I knew you would.
I did. Yeah, totally. Of course.
So what were your first impressions? Those beautiful peacocky, flowy things come out. She's revealed. The place goes absolutely nuts. What are you thinking at that point? Tell me everything.
Sure. I'm thrilled by the staging.
Yes.
That she has this enormous, the clearest, hugest screen behind her. And then at different other shots, you can see that there are big, massive monitors throughout the theater. But then there's this huge, it's not a catwalk because it's very wide, but this huge catwalk that you can sort of walk down.
Almost like a guitar neck.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, but they turn it into that
at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Because then it's revealed at one point that whole thing is like a projector. Everything is a projector.
Right.
Everything can have images and incredible images put anywhere on it. And just from that beginning opening where the clock strikes 13, whatever, and then you float through all of this pink, orangey kind of clouds, and then those clouds come out attached to dancers, and then she appears. Immediately, I thought her reaction to the crowd losing their mind felt genuine. I mean, it felt like she was really vibing in the moment. I don't usually use that phrase. This is the first time I've ever used that phrase. But
that's
like
a lie, because you and I were on the phone yesterday and you said vibing and you're like, I've been saying that too much. I'm going to stop. So
oh, you know that every day is a brand new day, right?
Yeah.
I'm like sort of memento-ish.
Memento.
Yeah.
But so her swagger, her joy, her attitude. During Cruel Summer, she's like, we're up to the bridge. Does anybody here know the lyrics? And I'm actually indicating on a podcast. And then she puts her hand out like, let me hear you. And she shouts, prove it.
Right.
If another artist did that, I would be like, ew.
Right.
They're at your concert. Obviously, they know your song. She does it. And it's like childlike and excited and passionate. It doesn't come across as gross.
There are a couple times that we'll probably get to when her patter got maybe a little cloying for me or a little pandery, but overall she strikes this incredible balance of I'm here, we're actually friends, I'm having the time of my life, but then she'll undercut it within the same moment, giving a little bit side eye is usually when you insult someone, but she is a master of making eye contact with the camera
Mm-hmm.
and giving like the sexiest little look of like
Yeah.
her eyes are just pure, like, I kind of play the huckster on TV, but I'm also in complete control of my
Yes.
sexuality, and I know that I'm hot and I'm owning it. Like, she's able to really bounce around that in an incredible way.
I know.
I kept
Well,
waiting to be like, okay, but I really
right.
wasn't. She really, when she breaks after Cruel Summer, she seems genuinely moved and excited by the crowd reaction, and it's really endearing.
Well, you're a filmmaker, and one question I had at the very end was she looks right in the lens so often, but there
Yeah.
aren't cameras on stage. How is she locating those cameras and making
Right.
love to them as she is?
I
How?
do not understand how they filmed part of this. I have a guess because there are times when the camera is doing a steady cam walk around her, like it's so close to
Right.
her, it's walking around, but then they will cut on on a step to a wide, and there's nothing on the
There's no.
stage with her.
So they went in there at night and filmed for hours and hours so they had all the looks and the glances? Is that how you think they did it?
Potentially, it's kind of like Hamilton-ing it. That they did it, they do it multiple times. Like if you're a stand-up comedian, you never just record on one night.
Right.
You have 3 of the same shirt, and then if something goes wrong, you can always redo it. That kind of a thing.
Or you can wear the same shirt again, Tommy.
Sorry, I sweat through everything. I'm sweating right now. So that's not an option for me. Every time I get off a podcast, I throw away my entire outfit.
Somebody's rich. You have to have 3 of the same shirt.
Oh, I just grab them 5 at a time. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's one option, is
Mhm.
that you do it multiple times. Another option is at the very end, and I took a picture of it and I lost it, so I don't have it for you.
Oh.
I finally saw a camera. You see
Yeah.
some spider or cable cams. It's what
Yeah.
they use in football to like
Mhm.
float above. But there's that whole pit in between the stage and the actual people. It
Mhm.
looks like in a lot of them that the people are right up against it, but in a lot of
Right.
the shots you can see there's video and there's a lot of crew running around there.
Yeah.
There are cameras hooked onto, not with no one there, hooked onto runners that can speed around the
Yeah.
stage. It's being
Okay.
controlled by someone like a remote control car kind of a thing.
Right,
So
but
there
that
can
would be
also be
but
that.
if you were a concert goer, you'd be like, "Well, that's lame. I don't wanna watch cameras. I wanna watch the dancers and the
But
spectacle."
they were
So
so, the
that's
camera that I saw was so small. Like
Oh.
cameras have just gotten so good that it was
Yeah.
almost like twice the size of an iPhone. And if it's always moving, you're not going to notice it. They're also all jet black. Like
Right.
potentially this is just a huge step forward from what concerts that I know. Like I love Madonna's Truth or Dare documentary. I
Mhm.
love the No
Helen
Strings
Reddy.
No, I don't even get that joke, but I know it's smart. I love the HBO concert No Strings Attached by NSYNC.
Okay.
Like I love really big productions, but this is just another world. So
Yes.
I don't really know how they do it. It doesn't make sense, but my guess is we have sort of touched on the 2 big options. But either way, there seems to be a camera everywhere at all
Everywhere,
times.
at all
and
times.
it's
I know.
an absolute feat.
So she released an album last year, the Tortured Poets Department, and it's a double album with a surprise album because she's amazing.
Okay.
And there's a song called "I Can Do It with a Broken Heart" that refers to this time of her life when she was on the Eras tour, and it's extraordinary. The whole song is like, "You saw me on stage, covered in sequins, looking like I was having the time of my life." But I was suffering. I was
Oh,
lonely. I was heartbroken, but I'm a fucking pro. So I got on stage every night and did that show. That's I Can Do It with a Broken Heart, that song.
wow.
So
Okay.
this is the first time I think I've watched this all the way through, knowing
Mm,
that she's saying, I did my job, but I was hurting. And it just colors everything in such a beautiful way to know she was
wow.
potentially
Sure.
going back to her hotel and crying, or, she was suffering. So,
You certainly don't get that without that knowledge.
oh my
It
God, I love
seems
her.
like she's having the time of her life. And one of the things that I enjoyed the most in concert movies and bands and pop stars, they're always saying like you have to say we're all a big family. And like even Madonna says we're all a big family, and she's like mean to her dancers and
Yes,
she's
she's
causing
awful.
fights
Yeah.
throughout them. This literally feels like a family. She throughout the concert, she has little moments and inside jokes that I don't get because they're inside jokes with everyone, with all four of her guitarists, every single one of her 3 background vocals, and all of her dancers. Like they just have these because it says, didn't she say this is the last of the domestic tour? This is the last concert in LA.
She does say that. Yeah, I think.
So they've been doing it for so long, but it seems like, how do you keep it alive? You have these little moments, and she just has tons of them, and it's so infectious.
I know.
I would love to see a documentary also about the making of this tour and what it takes to run it. Incredible.
Oh, I would love it. I would love to watch her lowering down. And they do have some, I think, it's been told how she does those quick changes, and they're not as quick. You know that, right? That's like a 10-minute break where she goes under the stage.
Okay,
they project things on the screen for the audience. But I had to
Okay.
ask friends that were at the concert. So I was
Got
like,
it.
that's not
Because
how.
it was too quick. And then they started, it wasn't until, we'll get there, but it wasn't until Reputation that I noticed, at least, that the film started doing things just for the film.
For the film. Correct.
Until then, it was all just concert footage, but we'll get
I know what you're talking about. Okay, so it's so hard for me because I want to talk about every single song in every moment. We can't do that.
Right.
But the next song is one of my all-time favorites called The Man.
The Man. Cool set. They made it like this really deconstructed office set. And it's the first time that you have all the background dancers doing their version of background dancing, which I would like to talk about because I find it fascinating. How she uses choreography and how she doesn't throughout this entire concert. This is the first time that I ran into a little bit of trouble with lyrics. I don't know what her reputation of lyrics, but if I was a man, then I'd be the man. I don't know. I don't like rhyming words with words. I didn't care for that, but I liked the song, and I loved that immediately we're starting to play with the stage, and we're starting these little stories, these little plays.
And then did you watch the video that I asked you to watch?
Yes, I did.
So,
she is unrecognizable.
Unrecognizable. I love that video so hard. And
in the video, she's playing a stereotypical D-bag, like a really gross guy doing incredibly stereotypical gross things. And then you kind of know that it's her, because otherwise, what are we doing? But you don't. I mean, if you didn't know that was the conceit.
No, her body language is different. Her
so different. She
walk is different.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But so, I lost my train of thought, and I love that song so much. I was the man, I'd be the man. Oh, so there's a documentary called Miss Americana on Netflix that you will love if you liked this. And we can see her writing this song. We see her writing the album Lover. And so there you really get a sense of how prolific, how annoyingly talented, how these things pop out of her and they're immediate, and it's, she's got it bad. Like all of this, it has to come out. She's really this talented. But
so it
writing
really
the man,
it really is her. It's not like a team.
Well, she does co-write. She
does
co-writes a lot. I'd say she writes half of her stuff by herself, and then the other half is all co-written with like Jack Antonoff and other people. But it's her music. She brings in a collaborator to make it sound cool or different, but it's all her. But in Miss Americana, we see the phase of her life where she decides, I'm not going to be a puppet anymore. She decides to speak out about politics, about how she really feels. She doesn't care if like the label gets mad at her or her people tell her not to do it. She's like, I've had enough. I'm going to just be who I am. And she faces a lot of flack. And like, that's when she really was no longer a country singer. Because good country girls don't talk like that.
So
and
she
don't
did
do
start
that.
as a country. Okay, got it. Go ahead. Okay.
But I love that documentary, and that's what Lover is like we could see this album being made, which is maybe why I love it the best.
Got it. Okay.
So, and she really does suffer from. If I were a male artist, people would take me seriously. People wouldn't dismiss me. I would have more control over my career or my choices.
Because she wasn't the phenom that she is now, like the world power that she is now. She wasn't then. Got it.
No,
I didn't think about it that way. I think I was seeing all of this, except for parts, which we can talk about, but through the eyes of I'm on top of the world. Not in a bad way, but
No.
I had to
Yeah.
keep remembering, oh, you probably
She
wrote
wasn't
this when you
always.
were in high school, like this kind of thing. That's
Right.
incredible.
So far you're liking the songs. The
Yes.
first 3 or 4 songs.
And then the next one is You Need to Calm Down. I know that from TikTok. Nope, that's not true.
Oh, is that what she did next before
Yeah.
Lover?
Correct. Because
Okay.
then she does the patter and she explains the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Of
didn't
the tour,
know
of the concert.
of the tour, 17 years
Mhm.
of music. She did say this feels like a soulmate situation. Sometimes, that's the one time I got a little cloyed out, a little grossed out, because she's just, you can't take away from the fact that she's singing to 8 million people in this huge
Mhm.
statement. But then I'm not a Swiftie at that point.
Right.
So I don't have reason to go, I'm looking at
Oh,
this.
spoiler, you became one.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll get there. But then we get the big title that says Lover. And I realize, okay, so each of this is based off of, these are the names of the albums.
Correct.
And she's called them eras. Got it.
Yes.
So she brings out an acoustic guitar, and that's when she starts that part.
And the choreography turns lyrical,
Mhm.
and they pair the dancers in multiracial, non-gender conforming ways.
Mhm.
And they perform these lyrical dances while she sings this beautiful song that I've always loved. And that was the first time I cried.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's fun. We're not too long until the first time I do. Spoiler alert. But what do you mean? Define lyrical dancing for me.
It's not rhythmic. It's not ballet. So
Mm.
it's expressive and slow, but it's not. I'm not defining it perfectly. I'm sure.
Sure, but that's the idea.
Listeners
Like,
who are actual dancers would be like, Mandy, you sound like a moron. But
But there
there's
was
it's
one
partner
couple-
dancing and lifts and beautiful stuff, but it's not ballet.
right. There was one couple that was doing that, and then there was another couple that were just high school slow dancing
A little, yeah.
in each other's arms, which I thought was beautiful.
Swaying. I
And
know.
just was really like that. She taps into younger feelings really well. And there's one that I will point out in my beautiful pictures because I have to drag my dumb pictures along with me wherever I come. But that was really beautiful. And then
Oh.
everything sinks into the floor. And now I realize again, this stage can do whatever it wants.
Yes.
Whenever
Yes.
it wants, which is exciting.
I know.
And she sounded amazing with an acoustic. I mean, that's like 4 songs in and you're playing an acoustic guitar in a stadium, and yet it doesn't feel small.
Small, right.
It feels as big as everything else.
Yes. And so I think we've come to the end of the Lover era. She
Correct.
does You Need to Calm Down, a song that caught a lot of flack, which is a song I love.
Me
That
too.
caught flack because she came out finally and said, hey, shut up about gay people. They're my friends. They're people too.
Oh,
And some of the gay community was like, where have you been, Taylor? Why
oops.
haven't you spoken up before? You know?
Got it. Okay.
And if you watch Miss Americana, you know why. She was
Got
not free to be
Sure.
left-wing, open, outspoken. She was
Wow.
pigeonholed as like a good old country girl. She had to be that to sell her albums and please the man. Anyway,
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
then she goes into her fearless
yes.
section.
And this
and-
is country.
This is country, and she was maybe 17 or 18 when she wrote these songs. So I forgive the simplicity and, dare I say, boringness of this section. This is not my favorite.
Interesting. I definitely have a least favorite, but I think it's because it's the least accessible to a non-Swiftie. I
Mhm.
really like this, and this was a reminder of, because I like country, and I really have grown to appreciate country that isn't pandering and list songs like My Truck and My Dirty Jeans. Instead, her thing is dance in a storm in my best dress. And I love that because it felt very young. I was like, I bet she wrote this when she was in high school. And now you're
Yes.
making that true. Because I didn't look anything up. I really wanted to go in as blind as possible. And I was like, that's a cute lyric for like a younger person. And I could see it. And she was like dancing in a parking lot and stuff.
And everything was so sparkly.
Yeah.
And the stage, they project a guitar onto the stage. So the whole stage becomes a giant guitar.
That's right.
Cool.
So cool.
Gorgeous.
It's really, really great. And then the next, I know we're not going to go song by song, but we're going pretty well so far. The next song I believe is You Belong to Me. And this is when I want to talk about the choreography.
Okay.
We just spoke recently and I talked about, well, it doesn't matter. There is a real work smarter, not harder plan to this concert. It's as if The first concert I ever went to, which kind of ruined me for concerts, was Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation.
Ooh.
I got shot out of a cannon and saw the concert. And then I've seen
Mhm.
Prince 3 times. I've seen NSYNC 3 times. I never got the idea of like
Did
just
you wear the same shirt, but 3 different versions of it?
I changed shirts during the concert. In all of those, especially Rhythm Nation and like the Truth or Dare, the aforementioned Truth or Dare Madonna thing, everything is choreographed so regimented and so it's
Mhm.
almost like army-like precision
Mhm.
that I always thought was so cool.
Mhm.
You know what I prefer now? I don't know if it's because it's a different way of doing it or we're less of an NSYNC and now we went to One Direction where they barely dance. There is a cool, it looks like they're all just walking around and
Well, there's a
strutting.
lot of walking
Everyone
in
gets
this
their strut. I
concert.
mean, this should be called like the Era's strut tour. Like all
Yeah.
she does is strut in a
Yeah.
really cool way.
Yeah.
It looks like it's all flowing and free, but instead it's incredibly choreographed, just
Mhm.
loose because they end at a place and all of a sudden that part of the stage immediately starts raising up.
Mhm.
That people turn, it looks like they're all just walking and then every other person turns and starts walking backwards. Like it's a really cool way of doing a 3.5 hour concert where you're not dying.
Right.
It's work smarter, not harder, which I think is really cool. I was
Yeah.
really impressed. It looks made up on the spot. And instead, when you really start watching it, it is everything but. Did you feel
Yes.
that way or am I just being kind of naive?
I found it to be perfection, and
Yeah.
I've not seen a lot of concerts in my life.
Okay.
So this was, it just was exhilarating, and watching them walk was because they're all so beautiful and they're so committed and
Uh-huh.
in it. Just
And they look
watching
like
them
they're
all
having
walk,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, yep, let them walk. I'll watch them walk. And I have to say, and I think I say this a lot on my podcast and in life,
Oh,
but this is a diverse rainbow of
yes. Body
shapes,
sizes,
ages,
shape sizes. Yeah.
colors, everything. So it is, I feel like it's truly the best dancers in the world. Like she,
Yeah.
wasn't looking for a certain look. Oh, they all have to look like me. Oh,
Right.
they all have to be whatever. So it's just exhilarating and comforting at the same time.
I love
It's
that. I think you're
sexy as
exactly
hell,
right.
but it's also like you feel like you're in your pajamas with them.
You
I
feel
don't
like
know
you're in
how that.
pajamas and you can see yourself in them.
Yeah.
You can see your body type, your thing. It's not just like watching all of these incredibly lithe. And another thing is they're, except for on purpose, the reputation part,
Mhm.
no one is spending time trying to look cool. They're all smiling the whole time. They're having
Well,
a really fun time. You don't
yeah,
agree
I
with that?
mean, no,
There are character
when,
pieces, but
correct.
but
Like
I
Willow
mean
is
just sort
coming
of
up, and that
the
is not
walking around
smiling.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Usually it's like she's strutting, but they're having as much fun as she is, which
Mhm.
is really ingratiating. And then
Mhm.
came the first time that I wouldn't say cry, but tears in a shivery kind of way came.
Say Willow.
We're not there yet. Love Story.
Oh.
Love Story. It turns out I knew from TikTok. There was a huge TikTok trend involving setting a camera free and then doing all of this choreography, which I found very cute.
Okay.
TikTok, when I got on TikTok, it was all dancing. Now it's all whatever it is. But there's that part where she's telling the whole song, and then he goes, he pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me, Juliet. Please go to pick one." Era's pick one. Now is the first time, and Pete, this is Era's pick one. And everyone, Pete said he'd do it. You can look on your phone right now and you can see the horribly taken. This is not a screenshot. I just take a picture of my TV. Do you have it up, Mandy?
I do.
This is the first time that we learn that also this stage is surrounded by floodlights. And they
Mhm.
all, right during the chorus, the Marry Me, Juliet, all of these lights sweep up over the entire thing. We're lighting it now in a completely new way that we haven't up until now. And I just laughed out loud at how perfect and amazing
Mhm.
it was. It was so emotional and cool. Like they knew they're saving, and it turns out they're saving 8 more tricks that the stage can do.
Mhm.
Usually concerts just sort of like, it's the end of the song, so light everything up. And instead they keep heightening and heightening and heightening.
Yeah.
And this was the first time when I was like, oh, they have so many tricks up their sleeve.
Yep.
And I thought this was incredible.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So one thing you don't know about her probably is that, she was on the Eras tour and dropped this double album. everyone knew an album was coming out. She surprised everybody with, well, I had so many songs and so much to say. I made 2 albums.
While
Dropped
she's
them on
on
the
this
same
tour.
day while she was on this tour. A couple weeks later, she incorporated a new era of the brand new stuff. All new costumes, all new choreography.
Into the
She
tour?
added into the tour.
Jeez.
She added the Tortured Poets department.
Oh my
It's-
God.
She is
She's unstoppable.
tireless. And
No one, I mean, it's so much you wouldn't miss if half of it was gone, but you're so grateful that it's there. Does that, you know what I mean?
yes, of course.
Yeah, there's just no resting. Wow, that's incredible.
She is that incredible. I'm so excited. Okay.
So
Are
now
we done with
are
Fearless?
yes, now we
Good.
are moved to Evermore, which is a very, what'd you say, like witchy, Wiccan kind of vibe, maybe?
Yes, that's the vibe they're going for. When this song was released, when this album was released, this was the first of the 2 oh my God, COVID albums. Like, you're
Okay.
home, you have nowhere to go, nothing to do, and you're like, oh my God, thank God she's releasing
Oh,
music. We have something
wow.
exciting. She did
Okay.
it very fast. And we heard Willow, the JR, Casey, and I in the car. That the first finger picking on the guitar is so
Yeah.
beautiful. She starts to sing. She sings, I come back stronger than a 90s trend. And my husband, my 50-something-year-old straight male husband went, oh, oh, she's so good. And I'll never forget it.
Wow.
Because he liked Taylor Swift, but this
Yeah.
was now his becoming a Swiftie. That's when he was like, she is next level. Like,
Wow.
it was that moment. And then for my favorite lyric is every bait and switch was a work of art. I just,
That's great.
that song guts me. I love it. I love her. I love the staging that they did
Yep.
with the
they're all
glowing orbs.
glowing
and-
orbs in the forest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting, because in effect I binged Taylor Swift
Mm-hmm.
by just watching this concert. You know what I mean? And so I can't relate it. Like I can relate it all to Saturday versus like times in my life. So
Right.
the fact that it's still,
What time was it on
affected me.
Saturday when she said every bait and switch was a work of art?
By the way, real quick, just for avid listeners of your podcast, I love that I watched 3.5 hours of this and I thought that I was a hero. And then I just listened to your episode with Patrick Gomez where you watched an entire season of Survivor. And I was like, I am not a hero at all. I thought I was doing some heavy lifting.
I am the Mandy.
You're the man and you're the man. Yes. Anyways, so
Yes. So this time of her music was a shift. It was stripped down.
yeah.
It was COVID. It was folksy. She had just done Lover, which had some dance stuff, which had some wait, Reputation came out before this. So Reputation was pop.
Reputation is, why does it come later in the set?
Because this does not go chronologically.
Oh, it doesn't.
Not at
I
all.
just
Lover
assumed
is
it
like,
was.
5-6 years
Oh.
ago. So,
Huh.
and then Fearless is back to when she was
Good to
17.
know.
It goes all over the place.
Got it.
But this came after Reputation. Reputation was despised when it came out.
Oh
which
no, that's the one that I
crushes
liked.
me because I love it.
Yeah.
But people were like, who does she think she is? She's a country girl. Why is she releasing this edgy music? And
Oh.
it was not well received.
And she was
Now
in
I
fights
feel
with
it's
like
beloved.
Katy Perry and Kanye West. There was
Well, the
I do
Kanye
know-
West thing, yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Katy Perry thing, if that's a
No
thing.
one does,
But
and it might not be right. Okay.
but yeah, so Evermore was like, whoa, what is she doing? Like, the last one was Look What You Made Me Do, and now she's like, every bait and switch was a work of art. Like, it's so folksy and beautiful,
And really
and
reinventing
stripped
herself
down
again. Yeah.
again.
Wow. Huh. Can we go back one just to Marjorie?
Yes.
The only reason I wanted to point it out is this is the
Oh.
first time. I love the song, but this is the first time that I see the work because her bangs are a little sweaty. And it was
Oh,
just
God, yeah.
because, and I just had never noticed it. I just thought she was made of Teflon. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, it's a lot of strutting and it's not like hardcore dancing, but this is work. And that's
Yeah.
the first time. She still looks amazing. I'm not bang shaming
No, but
her.
she
Yeah,
no,
she's
she
doing it.
lets her hair get real wet and
Yeah.
curly and frizzy, and she just goes for it.
And goes with it. Okay,
And
champagne.
now she goes up to the piano
Mm-hmm.
and
Covered in
she
moss.
Well, and she does Marjorie at the piano, right?
She did Champagne
What
Problems
I didn't
is
stay
the first
dead.
time the piano shows up.
Okay. There's lots of footage out there if you care to see it, where she's playing outdoor stadiums and the piano is totally flooded, completely flooded. And she's just sitting there with the pounding rain coming down
Because
on
it's
her doing
raining?
Champagne Problems.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. That's fun.
Nothing stops her.
Yeah.
I love Champagne Problems. I love that you can feel the pain
Yeah.
and the youth in that
Mm.
song, but she's also acknowledging her entitlement. And
Right.
I like that.
Sure. To have that kind of awareness. I liked, this was the patter. She was talking about the tour again,
Mhm.
about how can you do all of these all at once. She's like, yes,
Right.
I'm going to do it. It was a tiny bit pandery, just in the way of she's like tossing off the name of her albums and everyone goes nuts, which is fine. I'm 1,000% fine with that. But it was also a little dorky in a very endearing way.
Mhm.
Like sometimes when she just lets herself go and she's not strutting and stuff, you can see that she's probably like a little bit of a dork, like we all are. It's
She's
not
very
overly,
much a dork.
and not like adorkable, not like a fake dork, but like whatever that is.
Right.
It was very non-slick, and that's
Mhm.
extremely appreciated. For someone that has been on a national tour and has said things like this over and over again, it felt
Yeah.
like she was talking, which I loved. And then one of my favorite moments, this is the second part that I teared up during
Mhm.
Champagne Problems. If you can please open Era's pick number 2, this shot.
Mhm.
There's these 4, I'm assuming teenage girls, all
Mhm.
standing arm in arm. I didn't get at the end, they all put their heads together and they're all swaying back and forth,
Mhm.
listening. And this was so high schooly and beautiful
Mhm.
to me for the reason that this was a real reminder of, oh, right, I'm binging Taylor Swift. These people in the stadium lived Taylor Swift, have grown up
Mhm.
with Taylor Swift for so much of their lives, and they're
Right.
accessing. And then also
17 years, yeah.
the fact of look how far away they are.
Mhm.
This is at the very back of the stadium, and yet you can tell they're getting an amazing concert.
Right.
And that's breathtaking. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So I really love that. That was a really smart shot to put in there to
Mhm.
remind me of the different people that are in the audience, which I loved.
I think this is such a meaningful thing on so many levels to so many people.
Right?
These
Yeah.
songs, her influence, you see how many gay men are there who
Mhm.
feel heard and loved and supported and celebrated. It's really, it is remarkable what she's done.
And so I was living kind of vicariously through a lot of that. A lot of the emotion came from me putting myself, if I had grown up on this artist, if it was
Mhm.
someone like George Michael, who like I never got to see in concert or something, but
Mhm.
I grew up on all of his stuff, that I would
Right.
feel this kind of emotion.
Yes. So then she leaves the piano and goes over to a dining room table.
She
Unless
sets a
I'm
table.
unless I'm skipping a song. This
No,
is one of my top 3 s moments of the concert. I
got
was
it.
not really familiar with the song.
Mhm. This
I'm
is
still not
Tolerate It, right?
tolerate it. I'm still
Yeah.
not ultra familiar. But the staging, which I assume is not her, there's a director behind this. But she is getting ready for her husband or boyfriend to come home from a long day at work, and she's pouring wine, and she sets a table, and he comes home, and he is clearly checked out and
Yeah.
not into it, and she's sitting across the table singing at him, and we've all been there.
Wow.
Right? We have all felt like whomever we are investing in is not invested in us, or is not present, or is not
Mm.
giving what we need or want. And the lyric, I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it.
Mhm.
It is pure heartbreak watching her beg, throw herself subtly at this boyfriend who can't give her what she wants. And
He is
he looks
very
pained
emotive. He
too.
does look in pain also, which I liked. I was also the big thing that I was like, oh, who is this famous person that I don't know? Because the audience goes nuts. And then I
It's one of
later
her
found out it's
dancers.
just one of her dancers. Yeah. But I thought that would be an interesting place for like a guest star every night. But then why would you want to be that character
No, right.
now that we're talking about it more? Yeah.
And he's so emotive. He
Yes.
feels really bad, and that makes it even more realistic. He's
Right.
not a jerk who's just like, "Whatever, lady, leave me alone, I'm tired." He's like, "I can't give you what you want, and I
Right.
wish I could." He doesn't speak, for those who have not seen this.
Hmm.
He is doing it all with his eyes and his body, and she is full of heartbreak and rage. And I think it is a stunning section of the concert.
It's incredible to see her set a table and then wreck it. She climbs up on the table and starts throwing things off. I mean, but yeah, the fact that he's not just a punching bag, he's also in pain. It's just not working, makes it somehow so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it lived in. Another thing lived in, she goes back to one of the glasses and keeps rubbing at this non-existent, but this spot that she can't get out. She's putting in the work physically and emotionally. And it's that again, and I'm sorry to keep using the phrase, but that's again kind of a work smarter, not harder. There's a version of that song which is huge and has a big dance fight. And instead to stage this little one-act play that really is, it doesn't have like 1,000 things on the table. It's just like, this is where I sit, this is where you sit, this is the divide between us. I'm coming you, crossing the divide, and it still doesn't work. It's very simple, but incredibly moving. I loved it.
And it's so moving. I wish I knew that dancer's name. I should have looked these up. It's so moving and he's so powerful that they really highlight the two of them being connected later with in style, the song style.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
That they hold hands and they skip down the stage. It's like they want everyone to know they're okay.
Huh.
And I appreciate that because
That's
he's
great.
so moving and it's so painful.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's really smart. I like that.
And then I think that's all she did from Evermore. I didn't write down another song until Reputation.
Correct. Now we're on Reputation.
And I know you've got a picture.
We're skipping over pick 3. We don't need it. Go ahead and open pick 4. And pick 4. We might come back to 3. This, I jumped out of my seat.
Tell the people what this is.
Well, this is the first time that the film sweetens what people are seeing on the stage. And it does it consistently every time from now on. When we go to a different era, there is something that just the film audience can see and the people can't. And what this is I know, because Reputation is the only one that I knew, that snakes were a real big theme in all the music videos. Well, the 2 music videos that I saw, snakes. And so Reputation goes and it says Reputation in a real Ed Hardy font, and then there's this enormous cobra, I don't know, snakes, let's say cobra, winding its way around that whole guitar neck stage in a way that it broke my brain at first, because I was assuming everything we were going to see was real, and I was like, how did they pull that off? It looked so dangerous and so good. And of course the answer is they didn't. That was put in later. There was snake part that you could see being projected, but not that. That thing is crawling around the stage.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's awesome. Yeah. And I already said this, but this album was not well received. Right. And I said they can all go screw themselves. This is so good. How good is this?
So good.
This music is anthemic and driving and heart pounding. I love this music.
Yeah.
And the staging and the choreography.
And the filmmaking changes. The editing style of this part of the concert changes completely. They double time the amount of times they're switching to cameras. And then they do this brrr, or it's like switching between 2 things rapid fire.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
So even the filmmaking and the editing ramps up to be like, this is the banger part of the concert.
I was too busy jumping up and down on my bed going, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Let the games begin.
Ready for it. Like legitimately one of the sexiest songs I've ever heard in my entire life. The entire idea of it is amazing. But yeah, I mean, everything changes. Everything speeds up. And then lovingly, it slows back down again later on. There's the right people are in charge of this, because I actually didn't like that they kept giving sweetening things and giving things just for the viewers of the film, except for the snake. I wanted to just live the concert and not be taken out of it and being reminded, because it was so well filmed. I think I was forgetting that I wasn't at a concert sometimes. But
I wanted to feel like we got something special that those lucky bastards who got to go to the concert.
And that's the reason. That's the reason to do it. You're exactly right. But
okay, so then we come to Delicate. Where everywhere she steps, the floor cracks. It's a light.
It's like a hypercolor shirt of a floor. That's when I realized that it was a pressure sensitive floor. No,
it's all lights projected, and she knows where to step, and the lights show a crack in the floor. It's all lights.
but it's from below, and even they start to use it so much with like the bikes, that the bikes have trails. Like people it starts following people around. You think that it's not pressure sensitive because you can do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like
Well,
Epcot
I
Center
remember,
has
like,
those kind of things. Like
and like Casey, when he was a kid, would go to like a science museum, and wherever he would step, the bubble would pop or something.
Totally. That I
Okay.
think it might be that, because that's a lot easier than having to ride a bike in the exact same place.
Oh no, the
over and
bikes
over
I
again.
knew.
Okay.
I guess I knew that, but
Either way,
we're ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
but this light does. I mean, it is
So
lights
cool.
that are
Yes.
making the stage crack.
1000%. Yes.
And wherever she stomps, the stage cracks.
I know.
And it
So
is
smart.
exhilarating.
Yes.
It gives you a shiver every time.
Uh-huh. Delicate
And-
is also the first time that I noticed that every era has a different mic. And
Well,
a different
I just
style Oh, I'm sorry.
The snaky mic.
Right.
So, but yeah, her mics always match
Yeah.
whatever era and whatever outfit. And it's, it just.
And she's using a handheld mic the whole time.
Yeah.
In an era when I
not
thought everyone was doing headset mics.
Wow. I
Like it's always in a
that.
mic stand or she's holding it. I've just never seen, especially for a 3.5 hour show. But it seems like she really wants to highlight the mic. Like everything is changing era to era. It's cool.
Tommy, I didn't even think about that. You're right. People who are moving around like that would be wireless.
And I wonder if that's part of that also, whether
headset.
one informed the other of the choreography and how the choreography isn't super kinetic and like lockstep and move around, because then you would have to be worried about where your mic was compared to your mouth. And so instead, everything is that kind of slightly flowy, let the stage do the work. We're constantly raising up. We're constantly sinking. And so it's cool.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why she opts to do a handheld mic.
Yeah.
And then I have another question for you.
Please.
What other artist can transcend and master genres like this? From country to pop to this like hard driving dance music of Reputation back to folk.
That's a great point. I didn't really think about that, but now that we're knee deep in Reputation, my mind is going back to the fact that we were just in the forest not that long ago.
Right.
And it's completely different.
And
then
these
we're going to
albums were pretty close together. Just
You're right.
Like a year and a half apart.
The artists would be, and I'm switching complete art, but the Coen brothers, the filmmakers, the Coen brothers have made something in every single genre, and it's always pitch perfect for me.
Oh, okay.
That's the version that I have. I don't have another one maybe Prince, but Prince you can always kind of tell it's a Prince song because he did like reggae, he did different stuff.
Oh.
But you're right. It's not like you can always tell that it's Prince.
Right.
You're right.
If you took like her first song, our song is a slamming screen door. And she wrote it when she was 14. If you took that and you put it up against Are You Ready For It? There's not a person in the world who would say, I bet those are the same artist. I mean,
No.
it's insane.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Take your Coen brothers and shove them.
Sorry, Coen brothers. I didn't mean to bring you into this weird fight.
So then she gets to Look What You Made Me Do.
Well, before that, she has one of my favorite lyrics. I mean, it's not a great lyric, but it's really fun. And don't blame me. Don't blame me. Love made me crazy. If it doesn't, you ain't doing it right.
You ain't doing it right.
That's pretty dope.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
And she's singing the hell out of that song. It feels like she is reaching, not in a bad way, but she's like, she is going for it in a, we're like, what, halfway, if at most, in the concert. And
I know.
She has not lowered it to like a safe zone. She's pushing, and that's thrilling to see.
She does no cheating.
Yeah.
And she might lip sync some of this. I don't know. I'm not sure. But she does no, I'll just throw that line away. And maybe
right. Not a lot of you sing. Like there's not a ton of that. Yeah.
None of it. And
No.
she obviously knew she was being filmed. So I'm sure there are nights of her concert where she doesn't go for the
all the way.
But
yeah.
I mean, she's not a technically brilliant singer. I will say that. She is a dynamic performer and an amazing songwriter, but she's not the best
Patty
singer.
LuPone. What? Okay, go
She's
ahead.
just really delivering it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
So now we're at Look What You Made Me Do.
Yes. The
And
other
those
song that I
glass
thought I
cage,
knew.
those glass cages of emotion, Ron Burgundy.
What is going on with those?
Yeah. So I was hoping you would ask me that.
Yes.
Those are all the looks from all the songs of all her videos.
Oh,
Her
so
dancers
she
are
does that in
dressed.
her music video for it too. There's a whole line of them.
Oh,
In the
okay.
music video, and it's all
I
the
don't
different
watch music
her.
videos, so I
Okay.
don't really know what
I'm
the
a
music
weirdo.
videos are.
Go ahead.
So, no, I'm just saying. So
That's cool.
when I talked about this with Mandy on the Man Cave when Eras came out, and Mandy had no idea. She just thought it was just like different people or different looks. But it's fun to watch her go up and confront
Right.
her past.
Right.
You know?
And her past is like trying to get her attention. Her past in these glass boxes of emotion are like, don't forget about me. Like they're pounding on from the
Yes.
inside. It's not just
Yes.
sort of like it's not a display case.
Right.
It's like
No,
she's
they're very much
she's
alive.
getting
They're all
rid
still
of
yes.
parts of her or confronting parts of her. That's really cool. That's
Yep.
great. I didn't realize that. I love it.
That wraps up Reputation, right?
Goodbye, Reputation. So far, I know so many more songs than I thought I did.
Yay!
Yeah.
Which takes us into Speak Now,
Mm-hmm.
which is also an older album.
Okay.
And I did a little fast forwarding because these are not my favorite songs.
You're allowed to do that. Okay.
Plus, I've seen it, 3 or 4 times prior.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
did you do any fast forwarding at all ever?
No, I rewounded. No, I didn't because I didn't know that was a thing that we were allowed to do. But I wouldn't have because I'd be afraid of missing something.
Mm-hmm.
This was not much for me, this section, although I did write down for Long Live how many senior graduation songs was this for high schools
I'm sure.
across the world. I
Yeah.
mean, it is made for that.
And isn't it what they play over the end credits?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was a very strange choice for the end credits of all of her incredible songs.
It makes sense of this is like we're going to be remembered. All the things we did, all the people we're going to be remembered. I get it. It's the same thing of saying goodbye to high school. So it seems like a good choice for me.
Right.
But in this song, also, this is when I wrote down, she has so many little moments with everybody. All the background singers. This is a real group song in a fun way, which I really liked it. I'm not going to add it to my playlist. And her in a huge ball gown and stuff. It's very pretty, but this was just a different part. This is what a younger girl would think being a concert star is. And
right.
I've already seen better from this concert. I mean, yeah,
correct. Fearless. And then we're coming up on one of the best sections of the whole thing, Red.
Okay.
This was her first pop album. This was what started wait a minute, who is Taylor Swift? She's not just a girl with her little guitar. This was a huge coming out.
Did she get
Red.
a Bob Dylan, going electric pushback? Were people initially, I know she got a pushback from Reputation, but were people pissed?
I'm sure country purists were pissed, but this is where the world stood up and noticed her.
Huh.
She went from only getting country radio play to being on pop stations. This was it. This was her full, rebirth. And these songs are fantastic. I love this album.
I know most of them. I definitely know Never Ever Getting Back Together, and I knew You Were Trouble, Trouble, Trouble. I didn't know that they were her, so that's fun. I have questions. 22 is the first song. She's wearing a shirt that says a lot going on at the moment. Does that mean anything, or is that because this was her breakout and that's just emblematic of this is her life changing?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just a kitschy shirt.
Cute. Okay, got it.
But I don't know.
And then
but she was 22, obviously, when this came out. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling or maybe she was a little older, and if this was a throwback to
I was assuming it was a different age to say, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling either younger than I am or older than I am.
You're right. She was probably a little older.
And then she gives her hat to a girl at the front of the stage, and everyone seems to know that it's happening. Is that something that she does
it in every city, but so it's a pre-arranged person that's lucky to get that seat. That was Kobe Bryant's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Which is touching. But I also complained when Mandy and I talked about the movie. I really wish it were a Make-A-Wish kid or a underprivileged,
Sure.
some kid for whom this was their lifelong dream and they never would have been afforded this opportunity and they were sent tickets to the show and that seat. So there's something a little like it's
Totally agree.
very
I see it
privileged.
both ways, but
Right.
but it's a little
Right.
bit like Kim Kardashian's daughter singing "I Just Can't Wait to Be King" or whatever concert that was. You're like, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You've got enough going on. Was it ever? Do you know? Like, has anyone ever done like a compilation of who? Is it always kids?
I actually don't know. I would assume.
And
'Cause
is it
it's such a
always
cute moment?
girls?
I don't know.
I hope there'd be some boys in there too, like boy
Yeah.
super fans. That'd be fun. I'd like to see what kind of, and I'd like to know what it is. Like if it's just a raffle or a weird Scooter Braun giving out tickets to Justin
Well,
Bieber.
he is
would
not.
He would go
a-
out in the beginning of I've watched Justin Bieber's documentary too. It's cool.
Oh,
And he would go out to people in line with like couldn't get tickets and give them like front row seats.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
big Scooter Braun loves himself moment in the thing. And he's like a villain in this, right? Do I know that all
Yes.
the Taylor's versions
Yeah.
is her remaking songs?
Yep. Yeah.
So he
to
doesn't
take
have the
back
right to them?
ownership of her music. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. She's amazing. It's
Okay, I have I'm sorry, I don't mean to be driving, but I have another very itching question about this segment.
Yeah.
This 10-minute song, all too well. Everyone knows
Mhm.
this because she goes, "Do you have 10 minutes?" And everyone loses their mind. And I was like, "Oh my God, 10 minutes." I love it. Do people, is she talking about a person that people really know about?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
What? Oh no! I love Jake Gyllenhaal, but he's such a jerk in this. And he kept the scarf.
Yeah.
Okay, so then here's my question. How do we know that? Does she come out and say it, or is it all like clues and stuff? I've heard that she puts a lot of clues and things in things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this album came out after she was publicly with him and then not with him.
Oh,
And so
we knew.
it's
Okay.
not too hard to piece that together. And I think she's been asked and he's been asked and they've been cagey and yeah.
Okay. Oof. Man, 10 minutes.
But there's a lot about how he's got actress friends and, he grew up in Beverly Hills. Like there's a lot of stuff that's,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think she's ever stated it though. So I could be wrong, but this was the era of everyone hating Jake Gyllenhaal because he did her dirty. He wasn't nice to her.
Is traditionally her latest album, like it talks about in Shake It Off, like is it about the last boyfriend or not necessarily? I know you didn't want to talk about boyfriends that much, but I
would assume that's how life works, but I don't know.
Sure. Okay. But she's not like 5 albums later. She's like, oh, and another thing about Tom Hiddleston. She's not
who
just
knows?
through lists.
Who knows?
Yeah.
She doesn't name names, so
She
it
doesn't.
could definitely, she could certainly have something sticking in her craw that she expresses 5 years later. That's allowed.
Well, that's interesting to know. That's a little heartbreaking about Jake Gyllenhaal because I really like him, and because this is a furious song, but it's super
and
emotional.
It needs all 10 minutes.
It didn't feel draggy at all, and it didn't feel like 10 minutes. It just kept going and going, and it was really touching. And
it's my favorite.
Is it really? That's a good choice. Well, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
That's why one of the reasons it just keeps going and it keeps digging deeper and exploring a new emotion and exploring. I love it.
Great choice. Okay. And then that's it for Red, I believe. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so then we're into Folklore, which was her other COVID album, and it came out at a similar time of Evermore, and I will never know which song is from which album. That is something my brain will never keep them straight. They are both folky. They are both.
That makes sense. This would be a sister album to.
Yeah, they didn't come out at the same time like Tortured
Right.
Poets Department, but within a year, I think. Okay. And you're like, how is she? She's like just in a cabin somewhere cranking this out. She is a mad genius. She kept doing it.
Was she literally? Because she says, so we brought the Folklore cabin to L.A. and everyone screamed. Did we know that she was like spending time in a cabin?
I think so. From
Got it. Cool.
From like COVID. And and this is one of those where you see the fans crying really hard at a lot of these songs, and that is so moving to me. The
Yeah.
fans and just
Yeah. But
oh
not that crazed Beatles crying. More
no,
like the getting in touch with a memory crying, which is
right,
a really different and more. It's a lot easier to watch than like tear
yeah,
your hair out. I don't know what I'm doing
right.
kind of thing. Which is you can see
I
the
wrote, "What happened to the cynic in me? I feel like she has broken me." I
wait.
Taylor
Is that
Swift has
oh, I thought that was a lyric.
It's me.
Wow,
No,
it's you. Hi.
Hi, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
She uh she really doesn't allow me to be cynical or negative.
Yeah.
I find her to be so positive and
Yeah.
life affirming and joy giving. Mm,
But that cool sweet spot. I know I'm repeating myself, but not being like a Mary Sue, like a giggle, giggle. I have a big lollipop. She's also so powerful and sexy. You know what I mean? And I'm not
yes.
trying to be creepy when I say sexy. I mean, she's using her sex appeal to
Yes.
amp up her power in
Yes.
different songs. This one, Folklore, I appreciate everything you said. This one
Mhm.
was the first time I started feeling the length of the
Mm.
concert.
Mhm.
And what I talked about was probably the least accessible. And partly it's
Mhm.
because she even says up top, like, I wrote a bunch of stories about a bunch of fake people, and I
Mhm.
don't know what the stories are.
Mhm.
So when she's talking about the last great American dynasty, there's
We
this little play going on. And I have no idea
Right.
what's going on. So,
But we didn't. I mean, she created these stories. It's
but
not
you've listened to the album, so you know who, like when she says Betty, everyone loses their mind. I don't know who Betty, I guess I learned who Betty is.
right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I think I don't think you're missing out
I'd
because
say.
she says, like, I decided to be a jerky kid named James in high school who cheated on his girlfriend. And here's that song. And, we know the song, so we're excited. But
Sure.
it's not, it's not because we know the truth behind it and who it's really about. It's not that way.
Oh, no, definitely not that. I guess I felt, especially with like the last Great American Dynasty and part of August, I was getting every other chapter in a book,
Mm.
and I
Okay.
couldn't find the through line for me. But probably
Uh-huh.
I would need the lyrics. There was also so much beautiful stuff going on visually that it was
Right.
maybe a little hard to concentrate.
I thought The Last Great American Dynasty was stunning. Again,
Yeah.
lyrical dance.
Yep.
That beautiful redheaded dancer coming out as this character.
Hmm.
Oh, I just that was another one act play that
Right.
plunked
Uh,
right into this concert. I loved it.
this
I
this was though Cardigan. I started to be like, I'm starting to drag a little bit. It's also these
Okay.
are almost all very slow, and then the next one shows up and I stop being tired immediately.
Yes. Well, that's part of the nice thing about her career and this concert is like
Yeah.
slow and folksy and storytelling and then dance party. You know?
And if you didn't have that slow and folksy, because I'm not, in no way am I disdaining the choice, you would get numb. If it was all
Right.
Reputation all the time,
Right.
you'd want to go get a snack or something. So,
Right. So one of the things I wrote at the point of Folklore was most of my favorites of hers were co-written by Aaron Dressner.
oh,
And
okay.
he is the lead singer and writer of songs for a band called The National.
Oh,
I
I've
don't
heard of them. I don't know
Me
anything about
too.
them.
And I know they've collabed. She's has like a couple songs that she's sung with The National, but I don't know that band. And I listened. His voice is almost to me like Crash Test Dummies. And it's
Is that
not Yep.
Okay, got it.
So it's not
Interesting. That's an
I don't think
interesting collaboration then.
it's not for me to listen to,
Yeah.
but I think he's a fantastic songwriter because a
Cool.
lot of the ones of hers that I go, oh my God, oh, I love this song. Oh, it just speaks to me. I watched every end credit and I was like, I'll
Oh,
be
it
damned.
just kept
It's
popping up and
mostly
popping
him.
up.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. Okay.
So then came 1989, the year she was born. That's what she named the album after. And they
Oh,
do,
got it.
it's so, again, back to dance party, fun.
Yep.
They did Style,
Which I knew it turned out. I didn't know.
right?
Yep.
And that's where she makes up with the boyfriend who wasn't there for her during Tolerate It. And then Blank Space is when it's a revenge song.
Uh-huh.
And they take golf clubs and destroy a car that's
right.
on a screen.
That's right. They fake they hit a car that's not there, and the car. This is also with the Tron bikes, the light up Tron
Yes.
bikes that go around,
Mhm.
and then they all have what, golf clubs?
That's what they look like. Yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yep.
Such great staging. It just gets you amped up.
And we haven't seen them use the stage has been going up and down on different risers, but we've never seen an image be projected on it and then interacted with.
Right.
The stage seems like the coolest thing in the entire world.
In the entire world.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just a really fun balls out section of the concert. Wildest Dreams is a great song, and then Bad Blood, and the whole stadium turned red.
Yeah.
And it was like, "Whoa!"
And we now find out that the stage can shoot fire for the first time. They have
okay.
so many tricks, and it's real fire
Mhm.
because it does that flicker. It's not turning off in between them, because I was wondering if they were doing it just with projection, and it's not.
Okay.
It's only along the back, so no one's in any danger. But now we're shooting fire. God damn it!
I didn't remember that, so thank you.
Yeah.
Then she leaves all of that and does an acoustic set. And this is for like a little all over the place for her. And I'm glad she did, because her first album is a bunch of cutesy songs, like with 3 chords. So we
Okay.
wouldn't really want an era of that.
Sure.
You know? But her first hit is Our Song. And I can still picture the first time I saw her with her curly blonde hair, and she was 15 or something singing that song. I loved it. I loved her
She was that
instantly.
young. Wow.
And she does a song called You're on Your Own, Kid, which is one of Jer's favorite songs.
Yep.
And then I wrote here, why doesn't she talk more and tell more stories?
Huh.
There must be a reason why she doesn't. But a lot of the concerts I love are, the part I love is like when the artist is saying, so this next song was a time in my life when I was really going through something, and here's why I wrote it, and here's a cool fun fact about working. She doesn't do a ton of that at all. Not enough for my taste.
explained it up top, and then you're right. Like, to the point, like, I just assumed all of these eras were in order, and now that one of them is called 1989, I feel like a real dum-dum. But, like, I just didn't know. She wasn't taking me on a trip through them. I was just sort of exploring them. I wonder if it's because, is that kind of talking just really hard on your voice? Like when you're trying to do a 3.5-hour concert? I have no idea.
I wouldn't assume that that's the reason. I would assume people want to hear her sing, and that was like an executive, well, we can't have a 4.5-hour concert.
Sure. So it's like,
people would rather hear the songs than the stories behind them, I guess. But
you're right. I would have enjoyed this even more if it was somehow 2 concerts. And then we had like split in half, and then we could really dive into where were you? Where were we? I didn't realize that The Cabin, for instance, was a pandemic thing, and that changes those songs. That it reminds me where I am in my life, that kind of a thing. And I guess I could have looked it up, but that was the point. I didn't want to.
But I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I am not an expert. I'm a huge fan. But
Sure.
There might be people listening who are like, oh, Mandy, she didn't write that in a cabin. Oh, so that's fine if I'm getting some of these facts wrong.
Sure.
But I just want to say that outright. Like,
well, I think we set the table with, I was like, so it starts with the clock 13. You're like, no idea. I was like, all right.
I don't remember. Someone told me and I don't remember.
A note that
I should have like Casey's friend Ivy on the show to be like, actually, Mandy.
Yeah. Because I've heard that there's like there's a whole, like, not conspiracies, but like conversations going on. Oh, there was one like on The One, and way up back in Folklore, she sings the lyric, you meet some woman on the internet and take her home, and the audience goes nuts.
Right.
Why?
So
I want to know. Well, that's interesting.
Right. They clearly knew that was
somebody, or
somebody she dated.
Right.
Probably some infamous story about the reason they broke up was because
that's fun. It wasn't, I didn't feel excluded. I wasn't like angry because I was living vicariously through everyone, but you always get that sense that there's so much else being talked about that these people know about, which is fun. I like that. The note I made for our song, Country, I liked it, is this concert feels like a genuinely participatory experience. Everyone is just singing every song, but it feels okay. It doesn't feel
most
like it'd be
concerts
annoying.
are like that, I think.
Really? See, I just don't go to a lot of concerts.
Neither do I, but the ones I've gone to, everybody around me has sung every word.
Like for
So.
Prince, everyone sings Purple Rain, but he stops and just lets everyone sing it. But
hmm
I don't know, I'd be angry if everyone was just sitting next to me screaming a song that I paid money to hear the real
Oh,
person do.
I think that's
That
I
time is
think
gone?
that's industry standard. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Um,
Good to know.
and I want to say, Taylor Swift had reached such a cultural uh I can't even think of the words. She was such a huge deal
Mhm.
when Tortured Poets Department was coming out. It was supposed to be dropped at midnight East Coast time. So Casey and all his friends were on their phones talking at like 8:30 our time, waiting. And I
No.
remember we were in bed at like 9:15 and Casey came running in. He's like, "Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. I've listened to the first 3 tracks." And they were all like,
Wow.
this was the hugest thing to teenagers. It was so
Wow.
exciting.
And is it,
It's
as far as you know, across the board, male, female, everyone, it's not considered like girl music? My
I
apologies.
think it is considered girl music.
But
I don't think
still,
it's
okay.
not for bros. I
Got
don't
it. Sure,
imagine a
sure,
bunch
sure.
of football players were as excited as Casey was.
We're
But
up at 8:30. Okay, got it.
right.
That's adorable, though. I love that they have that.
Yeah.
That they're
It's
that
like they'll
excited.
remember when that album came out because they
Yeah.
were all experiencing it together.
And it's good. It's not like a meme. It's not something gross. Like it's
Right?
actually
No,
talent
it's
on talent on talent, and it's
right.
meaningful. That's all you want for kids to be excited about.
Right. Um, so are we done with the acoustic set, or did you need to say anything else about
N-
any of those songs?
Just the transition after the acoustic set, what she does.
Is
Yep.
that?
If we can look up Era's pick 5, we're skipping ahead now to 5. This is my favorite crowd shot because what Taylor does is she jumps into a hole in the stage, but they film it in a way where it doesn't look like there's a hole. She just jumps in, and then there's a computerized version of her swimming up the
Mhm.
stage
Mhm.
to backstage.
Under the stage. It
Under
looks
the,
like she's
it
in the
looks like she's
pool.
under the stage in the pool. Anyways, she leaps into the stage, and this little girl in
Mhm.
Era's 5, this picture does not do it justice. Her mind is broken for a second.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
it's a magic trick. It's a cool magic
Yeah.
trick.
It's
And
very
she cannot
beautiful.
believe that Taylor just disappeared and now is an electronic swimming person. And
Yes.
she loses it in a way of not like, wow, this is so exciting, but like, I have seen magic is real.
Yes.
It was
Yes,
really cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. You're right. And that I mean, I've seen it 4 or 5 times and I'm like, oh,
It's a cool
every
effect.
time.
It's great.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And then we're into, at the time when they did this,
Uh-huh.
the last album she had released, which was Midnights.
Okay.
Fun fact, Zoe Kravitz co-wrote Lavender Haze. Not sure why,
Wow.
but it's just a fun fact.
Okay.
I wrote, did you lose your mind when she dove in the water and swam? Okay.
Yeah.
So I love this album. And I remember this album was when Casey and his friends were all in the car listening to it nonstop and we would all sing along. So I
Fun.
just have really fond memories of this album coming out and
Yeah.
being well received, loved, breaking every record.
Mm.
It was an exciting time. In the song Bejeweled, baby love, I think I've been too kind. Didn't notice you walking all over my peace of mind. In shoes I bought you as a present.
Go off. That's pretty dope.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't say dope without sounding like a real idiot, but you just pulled it off.
Okay. Yeah.
Those kinds of lyrics, those turns of phrases.
Yeah.
You walked all over my peace of mind. With shoes I bought you as a present.
Yeah.
It's just, she's sharp. She uses words well and sparingly and in the exact way to get that exact emotion across. I'm going to cough.
Yeah. And she's also taking tropes and switching them, moving them
Mhm.
around. It's almost like I'll be the actress starring in your bad dream. It's like there's 2 levels of, it's taking 2 ideas, putting them together and making them work. It's neat.
Yeah. I mean, this was, it's a great section of the concert, and they
Mhm.
end the concert in the brightest, boldest colors you've ever seen, which I think is a love letter to the gay community and the rainbow, and with, their sparkly, feathery jackets. And
Right. Yes.
it leaves you feeling high and satisfied and hugged.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
I love the whole Midnights section.
It also, that is probably one of the most It's not over choreographed, but most, like every song, like Midnight Rain is an umbrella song. Everyone has umbrellas and they're using them as props. Vigilante oh no, shit, you've already said things on your podcast. I forget that this is a dirty podcast. This is a sinful podcast. Vigilante shit, they all have chairs, and that's a very reminiscent of like a Madonna routine, but without it being so frenetic.
Or, I mean, going farther back, it's more cabaret. I mean, they really use those chairs as like sexy,
You're right.
aggressive
I like
performance
that
art.
I know three things and I just keep going back to them.
Yeah.
And one of them is Madonna's
Nice.
Truth or Dare, something that no one has talked about in forever.
Yeah.
Karma, when they're all dressed and spangly and everything, it's a neat, if you pull up, this is my last picture 6, this is my favorite angle and choreography moment. It's a Busby Berkeley shot from above where they are just now on a sparkless white, and they're all just moving. This is the epitome of work smarter, not harder. They're all just walking in different straight lines, but they look like, I don't like ants, but they almost look like these other kind of creatures that are doing this really cool stuff. I love the simplicity and how effective it is.
Yep.
I know that doesn't look like anything in the picture, but it's just really, everything is just designed so smartly and takes you on all this way. And then when you go down from this top down, then you're back in a land of color. It's giving you both worlds, which is,
and it gave you a chance to show off your Busby Berkeley knowledge. So.
Busby Berkeley, Patti LuPone, and NSYNC. I'm so, what's the opposite of multi?
On the pulse.
I know.
So Tommy, for me watching this, we are wrapping up.
Of course.
But I wrote down, if I could only listen to one artist for the rest of my life, she would be it.
Wow.
And that's huge. I have not felt that way since Billy Joel my whole life.
Oh yeah.
But she has taken that space. I listen to her music all day long. I'm still discovering songs because her albums can be very long and we only know the 6 songs that got radio play, and I'm discovering songs still. I love them all. I love her. What say you?
Not a fan, but thanks for having me on. This has been Make Me a Nerd. No, I was absolutely blown away. I have never gone into something so blind. Realized I wasn't as blind as I thought I was. And this, I mean, as I said before, I was ruined in my concert going because my very first concert was Rhythm Nation. And then I was like in college, like Big Head Todd and the Monsters. And I'm like, what are we doing here? These are just people like jangling. That's why albums are invented, so you can listen to it and it'll sound better. I need a really big show and a reason to go to the concert. And this is it times 1,000. And then the filmmaking, the cameras, everything is so perfectly done. It's so immersive. I loved every part of it. I love her. I love the music, and I love this artifact in a way. What a love letter to fans who zillions of people saw her. Zillions of people couldn't afford those prices. And so for $20 when this came out, they gave you this. Just, it's beautiful. It feels like, this is a gross way to say it, but it's like, feels like capitalism done right. Like this cost $8 zillion to put on, and it's going to make 8 zillion more, but there's care and effort and thought put into all of it. None of it feels like a greatest hits concert. It feels like its own work of art. And I was absolutely blown away. I loved it. And I'm now going to start listening to her albums because I want the ones that were less accessible. I want to know more about Betty. I want to know more about these things because now I can trust the journey. Yeah. So I want to know more about the journey.
Well, on Lover, check out Paper Rings. Okay. It's the sweetest song, and it is how my sister got engaged. So it always makes me think of my sister.
How it made, or she got engaged to that song?
It is how she got engaged. Wow. Paper Rings.
Cool. That's awesome.
All right. I'm going to do my business, and you're going to tell everybody all the podcasts you're on so they can follow you and obsess over you like a real Metzy.
Pete, drop that track.
Make Me a Nerd is a production of True Story FM, engineering by the peerless and oft mentioned today, Pete Wright. The theme song is Wonderstruck by Jane and the Boy. And please follow me on social media on Instagram at Mandy_Kaplan_Clavens, both with K's. And now I'm on Blue Sky at Miscast Mandy. If you're listening on Apple's, please take a moment, leave a review. hit that 5 stars and write something. And that helps more people find the podcast. And it helps me grow this community that I'm trying to grow. And if you're feeling really supportive, go to makemeanerd.com and hit that join button. And that'll get you your episodes ad-free and early, and lots of fun bonus content like an extra interview with Patrick Gomez, who is the editor-in-chief of Entertainment Weekly. He told me all about what it's like to be at the Oscars, to be backstage, understage, like he was there, lots of dirt. So yeah, do all of those things and join me for things like Labyrinth, the classic movie from when we were kids, and a little-known show on Apple called Severance that I have successfully avoided until now. So
exciting.
Tommy, where can everybody find you?
Right here on truestory.fm. Hanging along, doing whatever Pete will let me do. I'm on the film board with Mandy sometimes, where we review popular movies that come out that weekend. We do that once a month. I'm also on with Captain Pete, All the Feelings, which is our season 10 is starting in about a month. And we're talking about the theme for this whole one. Last season was Sins and Virtues. This one is all about adulting, the things that we thought we would understand how to do and do not. Or maybe we do. You'll have to tune in to find out. But just go to truestory.fm or All the Feelings, and that's where you can find us. And Mandy, thank you so much for having me on. I desperately wanted a reason to watch this movie, and I knew I never would if I didn't have a reason. You have truly made me a nerd.
Mission accomplished. Well, until next time, everybody, thank you so much for listening.
All right, Pete, now it's just you and I. Real quick. I didn't watch the movie, this whole Taylor Swift Eras thing. I didn't watch it. I'm just desperately trying to yes and, because I don't have Disney Plus, so I never watched it. So I'm just throwing out words like Love Story and You Belong to Me and Fearless, and so far it's going great. So just wish me luck. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be long. I think she's the singer. Which one is Taylor Swift? I think she's the one that. Oh, no, I'm thinking Michelle Branch. Yeah. Oh, well. Okay. Well, so far, so good. If I say anything wrong, just cut it out. Oh, shit. She's coming back.